Well, some new developments in the Benghazi, well, what some are calling the Benghazi controversy. Others disagree with that. But here's what we're talking about today. Lawmakers are trying to get to the bottom of what happened before, during, and after the terror attack on the U.S. consulate. The attack where we had 4 Americans murdered. Senator Kelly Ayotte, one of 3 senators, releasing a statement on the unanswered questions that remain surrounding the September 11th attack, including lots of questions about the president and his role. For example, here's one question that the senator has. We do not know what the president did or who he was in contact with during the 7 hours of the attack. And we do not know why the president did not reach out to Libya's president during that period of time. Senator Kelly Ayotte is a Republican from New Hampshire who sits on the Senate Armed Services Committee and joins us now. Senator, nice to have you back in the program.
Hey, Jenna. Good to be with you.
So taking a look at your statement, you do have a lot of questions for the president and the administration. The New York Times, in an editorial today, takes issue with that, basically saying that Republicans like yourself have not taken an appropriate look at the CIA. You focused a lot on the State Department, a lot on the president, but the New York Times say you're abdicating your responsibility to look closer at the CIA. What's your response to that?
My response would be that that's just not true. We are focusing on all the facts about what happened in Benghazi when 4 Americans were killed. And that means questions we have before, during, and after. Before, based on the testimony that came before the House, who waived the security facility requirements? Before, what did the president know about the deteriorating security situation in Benghazi? Why wasn't that consulate closed? And I mean, I thought it was so surprising that Hillary Clinton would say she didn't know anything about the prior attacks, nor the cable in August from Ambassador Stevens that it couldn't withstand a coordinated attack. And then during, obviously part of this, of course, is the intelligence as well. And during, you know, why is it that we haven't gotten the answer yet from the testimony in the House of Mr. Hicks, who said that the special forces were told not to go, the so-called stand down, when they wanted to go to Benghazi from Tripoli to help those on the ground.
So
this question,
you're short of talking face to face with the President of the United States on this. How do you find those answers, or is that indeed your intention, to speak directly to the President?
Well, I believe the President should account for what he was doing during that period. We know that he had a meeting with Secretary Panetta and General Dempsey about 5 o'clock. And then, as we understand it, he certainly didn't have contact with them after that. And we also know that there was a plane sitting on the tarmac in Benghazi of wanting to, you know, that certainly there was a plane sitting there. They wanted to leave. Why wasn't there calls made from our president to the Libyan president to say, let these people move so that they can go and help what was happening at the annex?
So you still have questions for the president. We're going to leave those that remain. And I would like to talk a little bit about what we're learning now about the attack. Some great reporting from our own Adam Housley and Jennifer Griffin that are talking about the fact that we do know, according to their sources, who committed this terror attack. And in fact, we've known for a long time where they are. You're a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. I know you're privy to some classified information. In all due respect to that, what can you tell us? Have you known where these guys are and who actually did this?
Well, you know, I think that these reports are troubling. We're going to look into them further. But I have to say that I haven't seen the zealousness of, if we know where these individuals are, why aren't we capturing them? Why aren't we taking them into custody? And why aren't we interrogating them? I think there are serious questions about that. And that would help us develop the truth of what happened, and most importantly, hold those who committed these horrific acts accountable. I think that has to be a priority. We're going to continue to push on that. That is ultimately, certainly the victims of these crimes and their families deserve that. But also there's other questions that remain in terms of the issue also of the survivors coming forward, making sure that we can hear from them so we know exactly what happened on the ground. So we can understand the full facts here. I believe the American people need to know what happened and make sure that it doesn't happen again.
So on the issue of how we handle alleged or would-be terrorists or terrorists that we know of, one of the big topics of today for the president, as we understand it, according to reports about his speech, he's going to be talking about Guantanamo Bay. And there has been obviously resistance coming from Congress about speeding up the process to get the detainees from Gitmo to some other site or get them processed. Right now, there's a hunger strike that's going on in Gitmo. More than 100 detainees are participating in this, and some are suggesting that this is a big political problem, not just for the president, but for the country overall. Where do you stand on this issue, Senator, at this point in time? And have you changed your thoughts at all about Gitmo?
Here's where I stand on Gitmo. I've been to Gitmo. I was a prosecutor before this. It's a top-rate detention facility, and the people there have the right, obviously, to consult with a lawyer, seek the Red Cross, practice their religion. And so I believe that when terrorists are captured, they should be brought to Gitmo. And I would add, Jenna, that in 2013, we had a vote on the defense authorization on my amendment that had a permanent ban to say that people from Gitmo could not be transferred to the United States, and it got very strong support on both sides of the aisle. So I don't believe there is support in the Congress on a bipartisan basis to transfer these individuals to the United States. And what about those individuals that are there that are so dangerous that we can't put them back into theater? You know, this notion of where do we put them, and Gitmo is a top-rate detention facility. And by the way, those who have been released, there's a 28% re-engagement rate where they've gotten back in the battle and are fighting us again and trying to commit terrorist attacks against us. So this is a very real issue.
Some things for us to consider. We expect the president to start speaking on that issue and others starting around 1:30 Eastern Time. Senator, great to have you on the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jenna. Appreciate it.